What is going on? Welcome to episode 7 of the Nintendo Powercast. I'm your host, N64 Josh. I've got Destinot with me as always. What is going on, my friend?
Oh, nothing much. I'm super excited. We got, 2 days? I guess it depends what time it is and where you're at. It's getting close.
Exactly.
It's getting close.
Yeah,
4 days?
The hype
4 days. 3
is
days.
real.
I don't know. There's so many people that have it already. It probably doesn't matter.
It's just not fair. It's just not fair. We have also got a very special guest from the Switchcast. Casey, what's going on, man?
And of course, it starts breaking up on me again here. Oh, I'm letting you down, guys. I'm letting you down. And I'm pretty sure you guys can hear me.
Oh, yeah.
Just like last time.
You are good.
But I have a frozen screen. So there goes my great intro where I'm going to have to disconnect and reconnect and hope this doesn't happen again.
All right. Well, we will cover for him. It's all right. We're doing this live, so he can restart and come back, and it'll be just fine. We'll do a little bit of house cleaning here, or housekeeping, or cleaning, or whatever. Guys, you can check this show out.
Sorry about that, guys.
Oh, there he is.
It doesn't happen anymore. If it happens again, I'm going to switch to 3G.
Fair enough.
Wi-Fi.
You're back? You're with us? You're good? Nope, maybe not yet. So we will. Oh, maybe.
All right. Sorry. If this keeps going, I'm going to switch to my data and just, I don't know if it's the Wi-Fi in here or something like that. I'll switch to data if this happens anymore. All right.
All good, bro. All good. No worries. So, guys, you can check this show out live on twitch.tv/The Loot Cave. Right now, it's been very random. We're shooting for Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Pacific and Thursday nights at 8. Those times are tentative. So just go follow twitch.tv/The Loot Cave and turn those notifications on if you want to come hang out with us live. You'll be able to find all of the links that we mentioned, including the links to the Switchcast, to their Twitter, all that stuff on thelootcave.com/NPC7. And with that, let's get into this thing. Casey, are you with us still?
I am with you in spirit, in mind, and internet connection as currently.
Okay. It looks like you are able to hold that position on the screen.
Pretty impressive.
It's very impressive, bro. Like, you have zero movement whatsoever. So, and it's not too bad of a face that you're making that it got froze at. So that's good.
Wait, is my image on you right now not moving or something?
No, you're not. You're frozen solid, but we can hear you.
Okay,
So it's good.
all right.
It's good, though. It's good, though. It works.
All right, so I don't have to actually worry about looking into the camera anymore. I can just look at your images, actually.
I'm sure
all right,
it'll come
we'll go
back
with
in mid-nose pick, so you're good, though.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Let's make sure it's going there right there.
We got guys in the chat saying I'd hate to play poker against this guy. So, you know. So I do want to say just a quick shout out to everybody hanging out with us in chat. Welcome, guys. I see Drummer, Jimmy, Reaper, Vought. Welcome, guys. We're glad you're here with us. So we will get this party started. Casey, give us just a brief history with you and Nintendo.
Oh, all right. Well, let's say my very first podcast ever was a long time ago, called The Palette Tribune. It was a Pokemon podcast. It was like it kind of like what you guys were telling me before we started recording. It was when Pokemon was still on like Game Boy, maybe like early DS days, and we were like, "There's no podcast for this," and actually podcasting was barely even a thing at the time yet. So we just started making MP3s that we put online, and then eventually iPods existed and they became podcasts. And ever since then, I've just been doing one different video game podcast after another. I did one called Game Station Radio, My Gamer, Radcast Audio Blast, and just all these silly shows we used to do. My most recent one, right before this one I'm doing now, was called the Pocket Players, and it was an all portable gaming one, 3DS, Vita, iPhone, that kind of stuff. And then we were doing that kind of show, and one October evening, or while we were all at work, we saw the trailer for the Nintendo Switch, and we were just like, okay, we're doing this show. We are just doing a Nintendo Switch podcast. We just made an episode on it, and after we did that episode, just on that trailer, we were like, oh, maybe we should do more of these.
Well, I think we lost him, unfortunately. This darn internet connection.
Good old internet. Every time.
He'll be back.
Are we on the Switch internet?
Maybe.
Oh. Wait.
Brian, stop
Too
it.
soon?
All right.
You're back. Hey, you're back. Go ahead.
Where did I leave off? And I'm on data now, so whatever.
All right. You were just saying that you guys were like, we're doing this show. We're starting this show.
All right. So we just decided that's it. We dropped everything. We dropped, because I got into the whole handheld gaming podcast thing at a late time. It wasn't like new. We started that podcast. We were there the day of the first, where the word Nintendo Switch was first revealed to the world. So we're like, we're on the ground floor. We have all this podcasting stuff ready to go. And it's taken off because of that. I mean, we're not like, we're pretty experienced podcasters, but we're not like, the most amazing show. But we were there on the first day, and we've been, trying to get the community going ever since, as much as we can for this thing. And we got the momentum, and we're going to just keep it going. That's the plan right now.
Yeah, man, it's been awesome. I mean, honestly, I was telling you before we started, I found your guys' podcast, listened to it, listened to some of the numbers you guys were talking about, and was like, I think I got on the phone or got on Skype with Brian that night and was like, hey, we're going to do or text him, whatever. We're doing a Nintendo show. And he's like, what? Okay. I'm like, we got to do this. We love Nintendo. And people are obviously wanting to listen to Nintendo stuff right now. So let's rock and roll, man. So, hey, thank you for putting your show out there. We appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate that. I mean, look, it's such a big change going from doing podcasts with, like, it's the Nintendo audience, I always say, is such a unique character to it. It's different than anything else I've done before because, even just like mobile gaming or even just the Pokemon podcasts I've done in the past, they're all a different kind of character to like the people, and they're all pretty, I mean, like let's say the handheld gaming, those are people who are just, a mature crowd, mostly people who have to go to jobs in the day. But the Nintendo crew in general is just so enthusiastic. Like, they made me want to succeed and work really hard. Like, from day one, they were like, hey, do you guys have a Patreon? Because, like, I'd love to start sending you guys, like, subscribe to you guys to help you guys out and make your show better. And it's a total 180 from begging for every little piece of support I could get on my previous stuff,
Yeah. Well, and you guys have done a great job of putting a community together too. Like, I jumped into your guys' Discord, and it was just immediate conversation with friendly people, mature people, and I've jumped into a few other Discords recently, and with what I thought was like a Nintendo community. And it was like, I don't know if it was just a bunch of like really young kids or what was going on there, but it just was not. It was not a fun place to be. Whereas, like I said, I immediately jumped into conversation with your community there, and they were very welcoming, and it was just it's been great just hopping in and getting to know some people in there, and so props, dude. You guys are crushing it.
Thank you. I'm really glad to hear that. I mean, definitely, I get the feeling maybe some groups are just a little more cliquey, and it's harder to get, I guess, like, accepted as a regular in certain groups like that. But I've definitely, I guess when you have a personalities that are running the show, like JV and me there, people follow our lead, and we're like super friendly people. Like, I love to see a new face, and I love to just engage and talk to them. And I think other people kind of caught on with that, and they realized, all right, so that's the kind of community we have here. And I think the Run Jump Stomp guy put it. He told us, I don't think a troll could survive in that chat because we just wouldn't suffer anything like that. No drama zone.
Yeah, gotcha. It's good, man. I mean, it's nice to be a part of stuff like that. It's healthy. But so the Switchcast is rocking and rolling, bro. What about you and Nintendo? Where did like give us just a brief history with you and Nintendo, and tell us a couple of your favorite games.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I mean, I was one of those people. My dad bought me an NES. You know, when I was a young lad when it just came out there, and you know, pretty much the story most people might have. Just I played Mario, Super Mario Brothers, my first game, Wild Gunman, Duck Hunt, that kind of thing like that. There, I was always just super obsessed with that sort of stuff, and I mean, a lot of us were. And if you're listening to this, you probably were in the same mentality as me. I guess growing up, I kind of drifted from Nintendo for a while. Like I was with them, Super Nintendo, and I think what was an N64 after that. I think after that, I took a big break. I became more of I was a PlayStation fan. I sowed my wild gaming oats in many other systems for a while. But
How dare you?
I know. See, I always try to kind of emphasize this with a lot of people is that I really, I'm not a fanboy in the sense that, like, and if you are, I don't hold that against anyone. There's just people who are like, loyalists for the sake of, they're really into it. But I definitely try to make a conscious effort. I'm never going to be a fanboy. I am someone who likes good games wherever they are. It just so happens Nintendo has a much higher batting average for me than most other people. And sure, they've had some missteps here and there, and there were some, generations where I just totally drifted. But 3DS brought me back when I got older, and I didn't have time for console games. Like I had a job, and I don't really sit at home, and that's probably a greater contributor why I drifted is that I was not a home console gamer. 3DS started pulling me back in. That's why I'm 90% portable gamer. And if the Switch wasn't able to support me playing on the train in the day to work or at my lunch break, I probably wouldn't be doing any of this either because I just don't sit at home to play games anymore. I get home and I'm like working on stuff. It's, when I go to work, I play.
So are you looking forward to like playing your Switch indoors, then having your friends motion for you to come outside and play basketball, and then taking your Switch outside to play Switch in front of the basketball court?
I mean, I'm the kind of I'm the kind of person who will have it on me, and I'm the kind of person who will go to a park to sit down and just play it out there. If I had some friends who came to my local park and asked me to play some handball or something, yeah, I would do that. That's my game. Not that.
Cool,
so I if they make like a.
Oh no!
Oh, and we lost him completely there. So
just like that. Here he's back.
Oh, I'm
he's
back. Okay.
All right, welcome back.
Cool. Yeah.
All right. I might have to run this off the computer. So while we're talking, I'm going to slowly start connecting my computer and trying to avoid any of this in the future because I'm doing you a disservice, guys.
Hey,
We
it's
got
okay.
you, though. We're good.
You're fine, man. We're good.
All right.
We ain't mad. People put up with us already, so they it's good, dude. It's good.
This is why I do podcasting. I'm going to have to learn how to do the live stream. I'm going to get a good computer because right now I use I have really crummy like computer equipment right now, and that's why I don't do streaming. I tried, but it just won't work. I will have to upgrade my rig, and that's definitely one of my future plans for like the podcast and stuff in general. Is just get a computer that can actually handle real streaming and stuff like that.
You gotta get off that potato. It's not doing you any favors.
Yeah. I just use my work computer because that's how I barely ever bought a, even a good home PC in like a decade. And I just use the computer, my laptop that work gives me. So that's why.
Yeah, you're like Josh then. Okay. Works out perfectly. So cool.
Well,
So
hey,
it
while
sounds like you really jumped on, like you said, you went more the mobile route, which is kind of funny because I just saw a meme today, and it was one of those like, Call of Duty target audience, and it shows like the teenager, and then it says like actual audience, like children, and then it's like, but it said for Pokemon, it said, the actual audience is like kids, but it's actually the older, I guess, generations that really latched onto that. So it sounds like you're
It's
right there with
definitely
them.
changed. The demographic has definitely grown with the series. I mean, it's just that it's everybody now, and they've courted the new generation while they've helped the games mature. I feel, especially with the newest Sun and Moon generation, they've really made the game more palatable to people like me. Even though I played like 10 of them already in the past, and I'm kind of, burning out on the series in general. They're like, okay, we've changed the series up so that people like you might enjoy it. 36-year-olds.
You crazy old kids. So that's cool. So yeah, you're looking more for the portable side of the Switch, huh?
Oh yeah, that's just who I am. I mean, if that rumor holds true, and they bring Final Fantasy 14 to Switch, that is probably the one like play at home thing, because that's the last console game I've delved into on my PS3 was Final Fantasy 14 online, and I will play it on the TV for that.
Cool.
Very cool, man. Do you have a favorite series or favorite just Nintendo game that you can throw at us real quick?
Okay, Nintendo. See, my favorite Nintendo series is definitely Professor Layton and like the Phoenix Wright games.
Nice.
Like,
dude.
yeah.
Very cool.
And then the crossover is possibly like my most squeetastic product ever on a Nintendo system there. So that's my kind of game. I love that, puzzle solving, just intellectually, like a main character who's actually my age, not like some teenager fighting space gods or something like that. Like I just love that. It felt like characters like Professor Layton are people I can look at as, I don't want to say role models, but like peers in games. Like they are characters who are supposed to be my peers, and not like little teenagers in high school.
That's how I've always felt about the Ninja Turtles, so it just worked out. They were more like peers than. So
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you
that's
say
cool.
that, because like I think we're all probably in the same boat more or less. I remember hearing an interview one time about Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, so how old is Nathan Drake?" Or they said something about like, "Oh, it's cool to see a protagonist, that's like in his late 20s, And the writer, I'm probably gonna butcher her name, but it's like Amy Hennig. She said she was like, "Oh no, he's like late 30s," and he was like, the guy doing the interview was just like, "Oh well, that's wonderful to hear, because that's like me. Okay, I can relate now." So, yeah, it seems like a lot of times the more current games that have been coming out, I think we're like right there in that Nintendo generation, and it's just like, as it's progressed, we're kind of like the games themselves have kind of catered to our age group.
Mm-hmm.
Is Mario gonna start getting gray hair? That's what I want to know.
That's why he wears that.
Mario's immortal.
You may have two mics picking you up. You have a little bit of an echo.
Ooh,
So
okay. They try that.
Very ominous.
Sick.
yeah, like
How about now?
now
There
you're
we
good,
go.
dude. You're good.
Say Neil before Zod real quick. Just kidding.
Guys, I have something very special here. So USMC drummer in our chat here, he's one of our mods, and he has sent me a copy of Super Luigi U, but it's in the box is bigger than just a Wii U title. So
Styrofoam peanuts.
I've cut the tape so that I wouldn't have to do that while we were live here. I'm going to open this thing up right now. So hopefully there's no white powder and you see me pass out right here on stream. But I don't think that'll be the case. I think Drummer likes me.
What if it's a Switch? Oh my god. No, just kidding.
Okay, so lhere's the first thing. Here's with the green case.
Ooh.
This is sweet. Like this is my third copy of this, but this is the only copy with the actual green case. So that's what's important. But there's a pink plastic case in here. It looks like something I used to hold my 64 games in. And Drummer in the chat says, I hope they put the powder in. All right.
Is it Barbie's Dream House? No? My Little Pony? Candy Crush?
Guys, I cannot believe this right now. In this pink case, here it is. I do not have a gold cart of Zelda. Drummer, and the book. This also has the book, which is where the main story lies, is right here. My friend, thank you so much, dude. Wow.
That is beautiful. That is just nowhere other word other than it's beautiful.
Wow, dude. Thank you so much, man. So I have a Zelda cart, but it's the gray cart. It's probably harder to find than the gold one, but the few gold ones I've come across have been so messed up that I kind of passed on them. This one is like pristine. So Drummer, man, thank you, dude. I can't thank you enough, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm glad you were able to stick around long enough to see me open it too. So guys, this week we've had some kind of interesting Switch news. And the first thing I want to talk about is we're going to go a little bit out of order on our notes here, but the CNET kickstand video.
Yes.
Oh yeah. You just showed me this before, and I saw links to it online. I hadn't checked it out yet. Then you guys told me how hilarious this was.
It's quite something, especially I guess the source of it. This came from cnet.com, and if you haven't seen it yet, check it out, guys. It's quite comical, actually. But basically, the individual that is using the kickstand must be using it, like, in the back of his pickup truck while, like, going down a dirt road, or I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. Go check it out. Just type in, like, Switch kickstand in YouTube, and you'll see it. But it's like, I don't know. This guy's got, like, ultimate butterfingers. And just cannot.
He's spazzing out. He's just totally spazzing out. Like
it's bizarre. It's super bizarre, and it's the only time, I will say this, the only time that I can see where I kind of see what's going on is he does try to remove the Joy-Cons from the side while it's already in the kickstand position, and it looked like he had some trouble. I haven't had it on yet, so I don't know if it's like really stiff, like, are those Joy-Con like really on there? But
like they click in, and you'll pick up the system. You're not gonna do it while you'll pick it up. I personally found, I mean maybe with a little more practice I'll get like this, but I found that I can't detach them simultaneously like I'm reloading two Uzis. You hold on to it.
Oh, I'm out there.
And you take one out. Yeah, you take one out. You put it down. You take the other one out. You put it back on the kickstand, and then you play. I mean, that's how it's probably supposed to be done, and not like this guy where he actually whacks it with a Wiimote, with a Joy-Con at one point, as if like you're gonna be playing so close. You're gonna be playing the sports games that you're gonna hit it and to knock over. It's like, don't play it in like you said, don't play in the back of a pickup truck.
Yeah, the only time, and again, like just watching it, the only time I can see it's an issue is like they show in the official Switch commercial. It shows like a guy playing on a plane. He's got the Switch up, and he's got the Joy-Con off, using them like in each hand. I guess if the plane went through like insane turbulence, maybe that thing's gonna fall over. But yeah, it's kind of like, it was just super bizarre to see CNET.
Yeah,
like how far they have fallen.
Yeah, it's like, give us this review about like, just so you know, guys, the kickstand on this thing is not made of like titanium. Just so you know,
he rips it out of its joint. He takes it, but you know what? You know what's actually a good thing that you can see? The fact that even when it rips out of the joint, apparently he had no problem sticking it back in place. It's not like
it goes right back
broke.
in.
Yeah.
They actually built that into it in case you set it into your dock while it's out. It just snaps off. And then you can put it right back on. It was intentional, because that was the big thing before this CNET video, is that, the kickstand falls off so easy, and it's just, no, it was designed that way so you don't break it in case you forget to click the thing back in. Like it's weird that they're that these people are like going after this aspect of the Switch. It's like, what, like, really? I don't know. And seriously, the funniest thing is, like, and I'll include this in the show notes, guys, is some of the videos where they've actually taken some of the CNET videos and made it black and white and put it in with like those infomercials where white people automatically forget how to do certain things, like put a towel on your head. Yeah, or sit down with a tray, or, you know,
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know
walk
how
out
to butter bread. I need a special invention.
Yeah, I mean, the very fact that we're talking about it, it's saying money for clicks. Henny's saying that in the chat right now. Like, I know it's like we're bringing more attention to it, but it's just like, what are they doing? Like, why not just do some like good journalism instead of this like just this clickbait crap?
Because I always say this, and I say one of the biggest fears I have about my podcast particularly is that I feel like in this day and age, you can't get noticed for being a rational, level-headed person who analyzes or who like says things in a realistic, normal way. People want to hear either this is the bomb or this is trash, and those are the interesting things. Anything in between is just not interesting to people, and so you go to the extreme. And I don't have that in me, and I always feel like that's my biggest concern going forward, is that I won't either be fanboy-y or hatey enough on things to get enough attention.
It's funny you mentioned that. I just kind of had I took some issues last episode of our show where, was it IGN, Josh?
That did what?
Gave the review for Breath of the Wild?
No, Edge.
Edge, okay. Edge gave Breath of the Wild 10 out of 10.
Okay.
And it was like the first review for the game. And I was just kind of like, so what you're telling me is absolutely no aspect of the game could be improved whatsoever. There was absolutely no way that anything on the technical level, on like the HUD level of the game, on the inventory system, it just must be perfect. And I felt kind of like what you just said, you know, it's like, well, if I don't give this game a 10, or if I don't give this game like a, 3 out of 10, my review's going to get lost in the shuffle. And we all, probably in a week, we're going to see the Nintendo commercial that has like, Edge magazine, 10 out of 10, IGN, I don't know what they're going to give it, but 9.5 out of 10. So then they get their kind of free advertising in a sense. So I hear you on that one, it's kind of like, it's like if we don't throw out the crazy clickbaity title or something like that or video, it's just going to get lost in the shuffle. Ironically, the CNET Deluxe kickstand comes out next week. I don't know what that's about. That's weird. I'm just kidding.
Oh man, dude.
I've always had a personal thing where whenever I reviewed a game, I almost will never, even like my favorite games in the world, like I don't believe in a perfect score except in like the most rare situations. Like there are like maybe 2 games I've played in my life I can say are like 10 out of 10 games that you could not tweak this game anymore. But like, I'll give something like a 9.5 maybe, or like a 9, like pretty regularly if it's a game I love, but I'll always want to mention like, here's where it could get even better or whatever. Yeah. But, when places just throw out 10s, it's like, it doesn't mean anything anymore. I don't know.
Yeah. So I feel like this CNET video is kind of up there on that echelon of kind of thinking. What were we going to say, Josh?
Put it this way. I've never looked into an Edge magazine review before until it was mentioned Zelda 10 out of 10.
We'll say, hey,
so
it's job, I guess.
It's working. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't really look at any reviews anymore. I kind of know the games I'm going to play and like. I know the series for the most part. And, rarely do I wait for a review to pick up something that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like, and that's kind of been that's something that's kind of nice about this era of gaming. Like if you buy first party Nintendo games, you've got a pretty good pretty good idea they're going to be decent. I mean, I even bought the Yoshi game on the DS. I didn't love it, but I was like, I don't mind that I have it. But being a collector also helps too, right? Because you're just like, well, this game sucks, but I'll look at it in its glorious case on my shelf or my closet or whatever. So, but I mean, that's just me. That's not
Yeah.
That's not everybody.
I just try to find, there's like a couple of reviewers in the world that I'm like, I know my tastes align with this guy in particular, or I know that this guy's the opposite of me. And I'm like, there's actually a couple of what is it? Bob Chipman. He does like the movie Bob videos and stuff like that. Yes. He's the opposite of me, right? Like, I love his reviews, and he has very well informed and very well thought out things to say about everything. But his likes and dislikes are so opposite. I can pretty reliably just go opposite with him. And I even told him this once at a PAX, and he's like, "Hey, as long as it's useful to you, I don't care which way it is. It's fine." And but yeah, just finding your taste and what writer fits your taste. And if I ever review a game, I always try to make sure that's like apparent. Like, I remind people, for someone like me, this is the kind of gamer I am. This game does or doesn't appeal to me. Maybe my co-host JV is more your style. Let's see if he likes it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even our last guest, he trusts IGN. That's where he's been going for years for his reviews, and I mean, that's fine, unless it's about Double Dash. Be careful. All right.
Yeah.
So, I did. I posted this question on Twitter because we've had a few. I was reading through our reviews for this show, and some of them say, even though the bombs that are dropped by Destinaut and N64 Josh for the games they haven't completed, it's still an all right show. So I said, I tweeted this out. I said, confession time. What Nintendo game have you never beaten that you should have? Tell the truth. And so we're just gonna go down the list here, and there's people in the chat. And I want you guys to be thinking about, I mean, Destinaut, you've given us a few already, but Casey, I want you to think about this too. So Jimmy says, this is Jimmy Pike. What's up, bud? A Link to the Past. I'm so sorry.
Wow.
This is interesting, this list. Yeah, go ahead and finish, but like, it's interesting, and I have a comment on this list. So
good enough.
Okay, so far we got Zelda.
Yeah. So Link to the Past. He also tagged KJ Hovey in it, who then tweeted back at him, dead to me. We have Uncle Jesse for real. He says original Zelda. Played the game hundreds of times, but he doesn't think he ever beat it. Reaper Miss Prime, who's hanging out with us right now. Super C. There you go.
Really?
There's a handful. This is at Ace Walter CG says Super Mario RPG. That's a good one. This is Dark Tagger says any Zelda game. I started many of them and then I get distracted. Don't judge me trying to change that with the Switch. This is Cody's dad at _bleedgreen_. It says Super Mario RPG. One of my faves. I got so close but never finished. I'm ashamed to admit it. This is from Shaz at Solida Shaz. It says Super Mario Bros. Last Level Maze.
Oh, wow. Going hardcore old school.
Pro tip, bro. Every time you see red, go down the next pipe. You'll sure off.
Right now he's like, what?
So, and if any of you guys in the chat want to put your answer too, we'll read it here. So, this is from Wakasan, I think that's how you say it. Blaster Master.
Oh, wow. That's definitely on my list. I've tried to beat that multiple times. Yeah. I even got it on the virtual console once, and I tried to beat it. I've downloaded it every which way, and every time, like, this is the time. I'm going to beat that ice world, and I'm going to get to the end. And
it's going to happen.
I always hit the same world. I always hit the same wall sooner or later.
Now, don't get me, correct me if I'm wrong, but he said Blaster Master, but isn't it Master Blaster?
I believe so.
Blaster, is he talking about the one with the little tank that jumps? That's Blaster Master.
Okay, so there is a Master Blaster and a Blaster there's one.
I've never heard of Master Blaster, so I'm assuming he means Blaster Master.
Okay,
where you have a little jumping tank.
Maybe my head's jacked up right now, but I thought there was. So anyway,
Okay.
it says one of my all-time faves. Owned, played it since high school. 88, never beat it. I still play it.
Yeah.
That's rad.
That's one of those games that has limited continues too. Like you don't even know, but like there's nothing to let you know. But if you continue like 3 times and then that's it, you have to start from the beginning after that, and that just shouldn't exist in a game like that.
It's Blaster Master, by the way.
Okay, right. Thank you for looking up. I think what's thrown me off, there's a guy in our clan named Master Blaster, and I always assumed he had that. I thought it was the same as his gamer tag was the same as the game, but
never
all these years
that,
I've been wrong.
Never saved that dang frog, man. Never saved it.
So this is from it says at Prezioso _D2U. Sorry if I messed that up, buddy. It says, Link to the Past. I'm playing it right after I finish Zelda Breath of the Wild, so I'll play it in mid-November. This is from VOD Gaming. Super Star Wars.
That is a hard game, though.
I remember way back then, that and the Jedi one. I think I didn't play the second one of that series, but I had nights. Empire. Yeah. I had my friends and I would hunker down, and I went to my friend Tommy's house, and we would just say, I'm not going home until we beat this. And I remember playing like till like 3 a.m, and we'd take turns. Like I'm sick of this stage. You beat it now. And we'd just go over and over.
Yeah, the last one here is from AlGeek495. It says all the Mario games post Super Mario Sunshine. So we'll pick up a couple from the chat here as well. Let's see. Looks like Prince David. I'm the same way with Zelda games. Never beat one. Let's see. We've also got. Looks like Jimmy Pike again. The original Metroid. Never beat that either. So. You guys have any that are just going to be shocking? Like, I never beat this.
I can't say if it's shocking or not. It's just, I've always had a compulsion. I love, are you familiar with the Saga series of RPGs? Like, there was a couple for Super Famicom, Romancing Saga.
Yeah.
It was by Square Enix. And then they had basically one in the same vein that was for 3DS called Legacy of Legends or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm drawn to these games so much. Like, there's such a awesome style of RPG that's very open. Just go and find out whatever, somewhere you'll find a boss that's going to trounce you in one shot. But it's up to you to go and be ready for those things. And I love the concept of them. And I played so many of them. Never beaten one of them. In fact, I don't think I've even gotten a quarter of the way through. They're just so serious and mysterious. They don't explain anything. It's up to you to find out, why did I just learn this weird attack that looks exactly identical to my smash attack, but it just costs some SP for some reason? I don't know. You figure it out. The game's not going to tell you. And and I just get lost in them and eventually get frustrated and quit, but I want to play them so badly. I even just downloaded it again on iPhone, Romancing Saga 2, which was a Super Nintendo one that never came here before. And I want to beat it, but I just keep hitting these walls, and it's just I just need to find a fact online that tells me here's how the game works. It'll
be one of those things where it's like 2 sentences long. You'd be like, oh.
Well, this game is really hardcore because you can't even do the regular things like grind, because the difficulty level is based on how many times you've gotten into a battle. So if you just grind weak enemies, the enemies outpace you in their power level. You have to be fighting the most powerful things you can.
Ouch.
And then you have to scale up with them. And it's little things like that. And characters can permanently die, and you just leveled him up for nothing.
That sounds super fun.
Yeah, but I'm like so pulled in. There's something about me that's like, I want to play this.
It's kind of like the Dark Souls games. Like, I've never played the Dark Souls, but it was on the PS3, I think, Demon Souls, which I think is like the spiritual successor. And it's like, there's like a special, like, you got to have that drive inside of you, I think, to be like, okay, I'm going to figure this out. I don't care if I die 1,000 times, because the one time I do beat it, that's going to mean everything. So, oh man, things like that
it's the punishment.
Brutal. Yeah, But as far as games that like, okay, here we go. I got a little bit of a list here. I know everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, you've never played?" Like I know Josh said he's watched it. I think I've watched maybe as much or less than Josh for Nintendo 64 or Super Mario 64. But never beat any Castlevania game.
Ooh,
Never
me neither.
beat any.
wait, not even Symphony of the Night.
I don't think I've even played that one. The only one I think I've played
I'm
is like the
literally-
original Castlevania. That's probably the last Castlevania I've even touched. Maybe
I'm
Simon's
literally
Quest.
playing. I'm literally playing through Symphony of the Night for like my 8th time right now on my Vita. I'm about to beat it. It's like an annual tradition. It's so not that hard and it's so fun. You really should make that the one that you play.
See, never
It's
beat
like
that.
it's like $5 on PSN. Just go try it.
I've purchased multiple, but never beat any of the Final Fantasies.
Hey, none of them.
None.
Same.
Going back to Zelda, I noticed there was a lot of Zeldas on this list, or various forms of Zeldas that people have said they started and never beat, or I have to this day never beat any Zelda game, and I just think it's funny that
You didn't beat Wind Waker?
no, I think I got to the second island maybe. But I'm telling you, dude, there's something about Zelda games, and I think it kind of goes with our little list that people,
We should have
joined
done
in
a
on
better
and-
screening before we started this. We're both unqualified.
No, there's like so many Zeldas that so many people on this list have been like, I never beat it. And then to the one saying like, well, I never beat, which one did he say? He's like, I've never beat it. But when I'm done with Breath of the Wild, then I'm going to go back and play that one.
Link to the past.
Even though Breath of the Wild is supposed to be the biggest Zelda game ever. I don't think he's going to finish
I always
it.
wanted
I don't
to
think
get
he's gonna
into-
go back and play it.
Majora's Mask sounds like that. Such a unique outlier in the series that I'm so compelled to play that, and it's offered everywhere I want to try it. Like it's on Virtual Console everywhere, but I've never actually played it. I feel like that's like one of the biggest pieces of art in gaming I've never exposed myself to.
I literally just played the beginning intro the other day. I don't even think I got to the playable part of Majora's Mask. Josh is like, dude, you gotta play, because isn't Majora's Mask a sequel to Ocarina of Time?
There's theories.
Seems
there's
like
hints.
it kind of is, because the beginning video just showed, was it Majoro like knock Link out and then he takes his ocarina, so I can see where it's like, oh, okay, they go together.
You should really watch. Do you ever watch the Game Theorist channel on YouTube? He does a great video analyzing Majora's Mask from the point of view of what if Majora's Mask is actually about Link already being dead, and this is his purgatory or something. And it analyzes it in a really interesting way. It's a great video. It spoils a lot of the plot of the game, obviously, but it made me want to play it even more after seeing like where the story goes and what it could imply.
Yeah, so like I said though, I didn't even get to the intro of that. Josh was like, you got to play Ocarina of Time. I think I got to the part where you go to the castle, and again I just shut it off. I didn't even want to watch.
So you got through the
cutscene.
DQ tree.
Yes, that was it. And
There
I'm
you
like,
go.
oh, I can see why this is really good, but it just didn't pull me in. Like as I'm playing it, I'm like, I really want to go back to my Force Unleashed saved right now, and I did. So but it was interesting to see other people like in this list. It seemed like the majority of the people it was Zelda games. So
Yeah, it seems pretty surprising. Yeah.
yeah, and then like the first game launched for the Switch. What are they giving us? A Zelda game. So
Because Zelda's a game that, like, it's not like you hit a wall really. Like, if you keep chugging at a Zelda game, you will beat it. It's just a matter of keep going to the next point and, beating this boss. And they're never, like, they're fun hard, They're fun hard bosses. If you keep trying, you'll win.
I gotta read the chat, guys. Jimmy Pike
Uh-oh.
says Mariah Destinat Carey breaking out another rendition of her hit single "Heartbreaker," and then Alka-Seltzer-Tini. Can someone please pass the Dest Assault?
hey man, make that meme. Go ahead, do it.
Do it, do it.
I'm just saying. A lot of people haven't beat Zelda. I'm right there with them.
Did my video pop back up? I'm just curious.
Oh
Yeah,
I
you're
see
good.
my video.
You're good.
Okay, just making sure I came back.
Go,
Okay.
man. So, speaking of people that have completed games.
Oh, okay.
How
Good
about
segue?
How about the Mexican Runner? That's his. That's what he's known on Twitch. And we're going to have a brief. Here we go.
Fun little technical issues.
Yeah, technical difficulties tonight are real.
Brought to you by Microsoft. Tech Assistant.
They're not all my fault.
Yeah.
Tech support. Oh, but you were telling me that this gentleman, the Mexican Runner, he basically made it his goal to complete all the Nintendo games. It was after a certain date, correct?
He started in 2014.
That's what it was.
And this last weekend, he finally succeeded at beating 714 NES games.
That's
so
just getting the collection of all of them.
Yeah.
Wait, he was playing the actual ones. Was he doing any emulators or anything like that, or
I don't
do you know if it was
it
all?
said.
He had to have the actual physical cartridges.
I don't know if it actually said, because if he had to try to get all the carts, that would just be a feat.
That
in
alone.
Itself.
Yeah, he should be in some sort of Hall of Fame just for doing that.
But yeah, it looks like he finally got through all of them, which I think a lot of people. I mean, some of those games, those NES games, were kind of arcade ports, which arcade ports are. Well, I shouldn't say arcade ports. Arcade games, a lot of times, majority of the time, they're just designed to take your quarters. You know.
Yeah,
it's not about fair gameplay or is this balanced. It's literally about let's make this jump just a little bit harder than the last 10 jumps. So the guy just kind of half-asses it and then dies, and then we get another quarter. You know, so to get through those games, that's pretty amazing.
That means he beat Blaster Master.
Yeah.
Yeah, the really funny one they mentioned here is Miracle Piano Teaching System took longer to beat than most RPGs.
Wait, hold on. Does that mean there's an ending to Duck Hunt?
I was about to ask the same kind of thing. Like you know, Donkey Kong,
level 99, and say, "Hey, that's a good round number." 100.
I mean, or does he just do it until it loops? And you've seen everything, and it's just like, all right, Donkey Kong, he fell off the tower, he's dead. Next game.
Yeah, I don't know. So maybe he had a set amount just kind of going into it, saying okay, if it's one of these type of games, I'm gonna go to this level.
Because Galaga, anything like that, Galaga, Pac-Man, all those kind of games have to have some cutoff point you pick.
Yeah. Does that include the Tengen games like Super Sprint? Jeez, I don't know.
I mean, 714, I believe, is the number of North American releases. But even that is debated. Because it's the internet. People fight over that number all the time. So I'm not entirely sure. But crazy nonetheless, right?
Yeah. All this pedantry aside that we're trying to figure out what were his parameters, just to dedicate yourself to that for this long. I mean, and he speed ran them, that was his goal, or just to get through, just to master one game enough that you can complete it in a very timely fashion is usually impressive. To do that to all different genres and just to, keep awake and just keep at it. After a while, you just get sick of 8-bit graphics maybe, and you're just I got to go play an N64 for a change of pace or something.
Yeah. It says he's an accomplished speedrunner and has records in both Battletoads and Contra. So I mean that's something in and of itself.
The speeder bike level, jeez,
dude. Have you ever watched the guys do that game? I watched it during Games Done Quick, and it was like, this is crazy. This is nuts. So, I don't know, really cool. There's I'll have the link to the Kotaku article in our show notes, so you guys can check it out there. So lastly, let's talk a little bit about the battery life of the Switch.
Yes, let's.
Infinite.
I was watching or listening to Nintendo voice chat. The IGN podcast, and Jose said he got 2 hours and 40 minutes out of his battery while playing Zelda.
Right.
And he said at the 2 hour and 40-minute mark, he went running for the dock to make sure he didn't lose his game. Now, from my understanding, and I don't have a source on this, but I think they mentioned it on that show. If your battery dies, it actually saves your game before it shuts off. Unlike the DS where it flashes and you're like, crap, and then like trying to save before it all.
At least then you can just close.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of good to know. But 2 hours and 40 minutes, like that's what are you guys, Casey? What do you think of that?
All right, I always said that 3 hours is my minimum, average for my lifestyle. I play it a little bit on the way to work. I can charge it at work, and I want to play it on the way home. And having at least 3 hours, for any other activities I do. Let's say I go to PAX East next week or whatever, and I want to be able to walk around a little bit and not have to worry about it. I mean, obviously, I'd like more. Now, a game like Zelda seems like a little more intense game. It's going to take a little bit more. I'm horrible at tech stuff, so I'm sure JV or some of my listeners who watch this are going to be pulling their hair out of the head, saying, "No, that doesn't make any sense technically, you Luddite." But I'm imagining a game like Zelda where there's so many moving pieces. It's a high-powered game. It's a very high-end game. It's going to take more power than, say, if you were playing Sudoku download game or something a little, those kind of things. Also, you keep in mind, was he using full brightness? When I know that I'm going to be playing for a long time, I dim it a little bit. If I know I'm going to have power, I always have it on full. But, those are all factors. Like how much longer at half brightness would it have lasted him another 30 minutes or another 5 minutes? That's a big difference to decide. So it's not 100% of a scientific experiment yet. I did see that other video or another website that talked about how they just compared all the different handheld systems Nintendo's done at a test of, we just left it on the OS, full brightness, and we compare how long all the different batteries lasted. And the Switch lasted 5.5 hours of just full brightness on, doing nothing. And that actually was a lot longer than the 2DS, 3DS, and all those systems like that. But again, that's not a practical, it's just kind of a baseline evaluation.
Yeah. I think that it's going to come into play. The videos I watched also said the same thing. Depending on where you have the brightness set, obviously you're going to get more battery life one way or the other. Depending on the game also, because Breath of the Wild is kind of like the big AAA game from Nintendo. I've heard that the Nintendo Switch does have a fan in it for cooling. So I'm assuming that type of game, that fan is probably, just like for all the PC guys out there, you fire up your game, your graphics card fires up, fans start, spinning. Whereas at idle, if you're using your internet browser, there's no noise. So, this thing, I think, depending on the game, it's purely going to be the game. Because if you're playing, like you said, something like Sudoku, or I'm sure there'll be some form of Tetris on this thing. Eventually.
They got the Puyo Pop Tetris.
Oh yeah. So stuff like that. There's another game I kind of got into a little bit on PC. It's like I Am Setsuna. That's a small game. For my PC, it was only a 1 gig download. So, and it's an RPG, but you can see, you could also say, Breath of the Wild's an RPG in a sense. But they're going for two different things. I think a game like I Am Setsuna, you're going to be able to play for a lot longer on a charge. Luckily, the Nintendo, from everything I've heard, people that have done the teardowns of this system, the battery is not soldered into the system. It looks like there's an actual plug. So I don't know if this is going to break warranties or anything like that. But it does look like you can take this thing apart. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see how deep the battery is in the system, but maybe in the future they'll have a higher capacity battery, or it's at least good to know that let's say you go nuts with the Switch and you're playing this thing every day and you're charging it and you're doing it mobile and you're doing it at home and you love this system, that battery's going to die someday. It's eventually only going to take 1 hour charge, and then it's nice to know at least, in the future I can replace this battery and it's not going to require me to send this off to some tech shop to, buy a new battery, have them like solder it back in, hardwire the thing. So props to Nintendo for making it, at least to some degree from what I understand, fairly easy to replace the battery on this thing. That being said, I guess here comes the salt, guys. There's a battery in this system. There's batteries in the Joy-Cons. I feel like there's batteries everywhere on this thing. And at some point, you're going to get... Those things are going to die. They're going to, they'll lose their ability to hold a charge. That's what batteries do over time. Even with age, batteries just... They just don't accept a charge anymore. That's just... Unfortunately, we're at that point with battery technology. It's getting better, but that's my only concern. And then, like, for example, leaving stuff plugged in while playing it. Like, Josh, I know you plan on to primarily using your system at home, correct? For right now, you're saying you're going to use it pretty much in the docked mode?
I mean, that's what I anticipate. I may walk around the house with it because dropping it on carpet is one thing, dropping it on a sidewalk is another. So, I mean, I may take it out periodically. It just depends. I mean, yeah, I mean, it'll be docked most of the time though.
Yeah, I've had 2 Apple laptops. The batteries are completely trash in those things because I would leave that thing plugged in 24 hours a day. I'm hoping that doesn't happen with the Switch, where if I just leave it docked for 2 years and play it for 2 years, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to take this thing on the bus, take it off, and the battery doesn't even work. So that's my only concern as far as the battery goes, is that there's a lot of batteries in this thing. As is, when you buy it, there's like 3 batteries. You got 2 Joy-Cons and a system. And hopefully...
That's interesting what you said about
it goes on.
The detachability on the inside of it, though. That actually sounds like it might be a little bit of an anticipation. But all your worries, that is very well founded. I mean, that is something that everything nowadays, I'm using these, Bluetooth headphones, and people tell me, yeah, you'll like them for about a year or two, and then you'll get a 15-minute charge out of them, and you have to buy a new one.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of where we are. But it's good to see. I mean, like, I hope that if not, they eventually sell, like, okay, you come into like a Nintendo place, we could swap out the batteries, or you'll go to like Chinatown over here where people do that for you and they put their, special batteries in. And yes, that probably will void your warranty.
Yeah.
So I guess,
So, but yeah, that's my only concern as far as battery life.
Well, I have some more bad news.
Oh no.
Oh
yeah. So when this is Jose Otero from Nintendo Voice Chat. He said, he plugged this. He docked the system at like, I don't this. I'm not going to say a direct quote because I don't remember. But he docked the system because it needed to charge. Okay, and then he continued to play with the Pro controller. The system gets it. He said it wasn't so hot that he couldn't touch it, but it did get fairly warm in the dock. He did notice the frames dropping to about 20 frames in Zelda. He also said as he played, his charge didn't go up. It didn't go down, but the battery didn't gain any life while he was playing it.
This was while playing Zelda in the dock with the Pro controller?
Yes.
Okay.
So what do you did I just tear open the wound and more salt's going to pour in it?
I work with batteries for a living, and the way electricity works when you plug something into a charger, everyone kind of like, you've got so many watts that come out of your wall. There's like volts. Volts are basically just pressure. The higher the voltage, the more pressure. So you're pushing electricity into this battery. And it's kind of like a balloon, you push air into a balloon, and the more it expands, the more resistance it's going to give you. Because when you're playing in the dock, it's trying to charge, it's trying to push power in, but then it's also pushing power out to the system to play the game, and you start getting a lot of pushing and pulling, and basically it sounds like it's sucking up as much power as it can, but then also has to push that same amount of power out to run the system. So it might be like a stalemate of, at some point I think on the No they talked about that, like it's gotta be in standby mode. It's gotta kind of be off for this thing to do a 3 hour. They've been talking about the whole 3 hour charge. Like, it'll take 3 hours to charge. You can play it for 3 hours, 3 hours to charge. And they also did a video about different batteries. They said, like, okay, buy this one because it's got this much wattage and this much voltage and blah, blah, blah. I guess the Nintendo adapter is kind of like the AC adapter to use for this thing. There are some aftermarket ones you can buy. Like, you can buy some of the ones that work with Apple products. And they said you can buy some that are a little bit higher voltage, so I don't know if that would help in that situation. You go too high, you're probably gonna fry the thing. I don't know, so I don't know if I'd do too much experimenting with that. But
I mean, like when I'm using my iPhone on the road, and or I have it plugged in the car, and we're driving. So I know there's times where I'll be playing on it for like the entire drive somewhere, and it's not charging. It's just like, or if I'm playing like a game where I have the GPS on, it might go up like 1% a half hour. But once if I'm just checking my email, it'll start flying up. So it's kind of like what you said. It's the amount of pressure. It can only get so much power through that wire at a time.
Exactly.
If I'm draining it with like 100 apps or some intense stuff, it makes sense that it can't charge the battery at the same time.
I like how Tina was saying in the chat, like, she's like, oh, I set my phone to airplane mode or off, and it's like, bam, it charges quick. Because it's not doing anything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, it'll be just interesting to see. Like I said, hopefully going forward, if it is a detachable battery and it's super easy to change, like, hopefully it won't be too hard in the future to get a battery for this thing. If it's as popular as, everyone's hoping it's going to be. Because I would hate to be like, this thing was awesome for a year. And then I couldn't play anything anymore because I could only play for 10-minute increments. I didn't even need the parental feature because the thing would die after half an hour. But we'll see. Hopefully, and I guess 3 hours is the average right now. I don't have a DS myself. Does it go about 3 hours for you guys when you guys play your DSs?
My DS seems to last longer than that, definitely. I mean, I feel like maybe because I close it a lot whenever I'm like changing trains or something like that. But I'd say I get at least on average about 4 hours playing some serious games on there. My Vita about the same. I mean, I don't play too many intense games on that. I play mostly like I said, I was playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night on there, and I'm into my old school games lately. I'm on a little bit of kick.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's about 4 days in standby, and my DS will usually be dead. So.
Really? I feel like if I put my DS in standby and I stick it in a drawer, or if I just close it, I could take it out a week later, and that charge has not changed for me.
Yeah, I don't think I have that kind of luck. But I don't know where I'm at. Like if it's at a full charge or not.
Wait. Do you remember to turn off the Street Pass mode?
Never.
You turn off
that's always on.
No, that's the trick.
Yeah, okay.
I turn off that Street Pass thing, it'll last me like 8 hours. Like it literally.
Gotcha.
I learned to drift from that, and then if I turn that off and I stick it in a drawer, that charge doesn't go anywhere. That will be at full power for a month or more. If you turn off that Street Pass.
That brings up a question for me. I wonder if, irregardless if your Joy-Cons are plugged into the side of the Switch or removed, are they still